It's early February and I'm in Nick Fuljame's workshop up near Banbury in Oxfordshire, and today we're going to start the dismantling of my 68 2-litre 911 engine. I brought the parts up about a few weeks ago, and today we've got the block on the engine stand, and we plan to take the cases apart and see what the state of the inside is. So what we'll do is probably with some handheld camera work, so it'll be a bit shaky, in and out of the dismantling process as we go along. But hope you enjoy the film and watch this space. Now, the first job in taking the long blocker apart is to dismantle the pistons. And what we see here is Nick tapping out the gudgeon pin on the front left cylinder, on the front left piston rather, and removing the piston from the conrod. We'll go around each of the pistons in turn, and they're coming out quite nicely. With a special tool used for tapping out the gudgeon pin. Slipping out the circlip now on this middle piston on the left side. Is that a special tool that you use to tap out the gudgeon pin?
I've just literally just an aluminium mandrel, just to tap a mandrel basically, so it doesn't damage the pin.
Yeah.
It's just only spun up on the lathe. It gets dressed up regularly. Pins are quite tight actually, generally speaking they just tap out nice and loosely.
Yeah. And some of them you hear about where you have to heat it up before you can tap it out.
That's right, yeah. We got like an internal slide tamp which we use just to pull them out sometimes. But if they're that tight, it's difficult to know what the history is. But sometimes you can just push them out with your fingers.
Yeah.
More often than not, actually, you can push them out with your fingers.
Okay. Now the next task is to just get the fan pulley off, and we lock the crankshaft using a couple of bolts in the end of the flywheel there, and that comes off fairly easily. The next task now is just to pop the chain guide ramps out of the chain case. Do the guides wear out fairly rapidly? Do they have to be replaced?
Yes, the guides, generally speaking, we replace those.
Yeah.
They do show signs of wear. Let me have a look, see if that's not a bad one, but you can just see it's just started to kiss down there,
yeah,
where the chain's been rolling over the edge. But for the sake of, they're about a few pounds each. They're not expensive items to change, and
yeah,
if you're changing the chains, change the guides. It's just one of those things worth doing, really.
Yeah.
Okay. These are supposed to be different chain guides on this one. Bottom right, basically, they stick a different design chain guide in there to allow for the distance in between us and the gear,
yeah,
the chain guide and the gear. This has actually been fitted with two of the same type. So that's whatever's been fitted in the past has been incorrectly fitted. We should have the aftermarket one in there. Well, it's not aftermarket,
Is it black and brown?
that's it, yeah. Generally speaking, it's a light brown colour.
Yeah.
This colour is the one that usually gets fitted down that side. And it's black ones the other way around. But saying that, I have had them come through from manufacture these days, which are slightly different in colours as well. So you can't always go there. Basically, you've got to line them all up and make sure there's a difference in height in between the bolt hole and the ramp itself.
Yeah.
We've
removed the rear bearing cap now from the front of from the back of the engine, and the next job is to take the sump cap off the underside of the block. We are taking out the oil pressure. We are taking out the oil pressure relief valves, and as Nick's just pointed out, these are the early spec type valves, and hopefully these will be upgraded once we come to rebuild the engine. Do those all look okay?
Yeah, they look good. It's nice to see a nice amount of sludge on top of the valve itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll all clean up nicely. So with the later thing, you can see the difference. There'll be a difference in height of the springs in between the valves. The pressure relief valve then will be a slightly different design plunger and cylinder with a longer spring, basically giving it a bit more pressure. And the cylinder itself or the piston itself won't have any holes in it. It's a different design as well.
Is it the crankcase held together with a mixture of the sort of nuts you're undoing at the moment, and then the through bolts as well?
That's right. Yeah. You ring around the outside of 8 mils.
Yeah.
And then you've got the, like you said, the through bolts. I mean, the through bolts are quite important. We'll go through the sealing of those later.
Yeah.
Because obviously the main oil gallery runs through there, which then has drillings through to the bolt holes, and then it's distributed from the bolt holes through to your main bearings. So
right.
That's why sometimes you get oil leaks. It's
Yeah.
your top through bolts not sealed properly.
Is that the same problem they had on the 964s?
Yeah, absolutely. Never really got to the bottom. Even now with the 993s, we get engines in that have leaking through bolts. Just basically pull them apart, and unfortunately you have to take the cylinders off the later engines to physically change the O-rings in there.
Yeah.
Even now they still have issues with them.
Okay, we're working on the through bolts now, and just loosening them off and giving them a slight tap with a soft hammer just to free them off. And we can see that the through bolts look as though they've got some sort of silicone sealer on them.
Rubber O-rings as well.